Drunk driving is just really bad news bears because doing something dangerous that affects not only yourself but also other people is just really unfair to the community.
My sophomore year of high school, when I was 16 years of age, I willingly got into a car with a drunk driver. Even though the driver said he was not drunk, I should have known that he was. We began driving down a road that was fairly windy and somewhat dangerous for drivers to go at an excess speed. And we began going very, very fast, and all of us in the car didn't really think much of it. But then we came to a four-way stop and saw a car that was at the four-way stop coming at us. There was nothing else for us to do, so we swerved into someone's yard and it ended up hitting two trees, and the second tree stopped us. The car was totaled, and two of my friends had to go to the hospital. Even though I was not injured, it was still an eye-opening experience for me and all the friends who I hung out with. We, at a very young age, learned that drunk driving was not something that we could mess with. This not only was an example just for the friends in my friend group, but also for a lot of people in the area that I'm from. So I'd like to let you all know that do not mess with drunk driving. If any of your friends are going drunk driving, take the keys away from them. Be the person who's going to stop them. Step up. I could have easily stepped up and said, hey, I know you're drunk right now. We got to all stop, come back to my house, do whatever it is. And because of that, there was a car totaled and two of my friends had to go to the hospital. And it was a very, very scary experience. So please just keep that in mind.
Alcohol impairs decision making and delays reaction time. That's a deadly combination on the road.
And talking a little bit about drinking and driving and how it kind of relates to our fraternity and how I am incorporated in that. I think it kind of goes back to the fact that as college students there is at times a drinking culture, and incorporating that into our lives is kind of an interesting thing in terms of keeping people safe but understanding the realities of what students are actually going to be doing. And so as part of what we do as an organization is we're really big on risk management. So what that entails is making sure that people are transported to different places safely and make sure that they have in their minds and going into different events and different things that we hold as an organization, that the number one concern that we have as administrators of this organization is safety. So we want to make sure people know what it looks like to be a safe drinker, what it means to help people when they may not be partaking in safe activities. And so the main way we do this in terms of transporting people is provide buses. So it's also a Greek SLU, a Greek life rule at SLU is that you have to have buses for events that are off campus. And so what we do is we usually hire a busing company, and we have different times set up for different groups of individuals. Usually the younger people are first, going up to say the seniors. And we transport them to wherever we're going to be. So, for instance, we have Super Bowl coming up. We have a contract with a busing company, and we want to make sure that one, people are safe in their drinking habits, two, that they get on the correct bus, and three, that they're being transported safely and get to their destination without any problems. Because the number one problem that we would have with people is them doing something really stupid in terms of drinking. People are a liability when they're in an inebriated state, and we want to make sure that they're not behind the wheel. That a number of fraternities that I've heard of and individuals that I've talked to have talked about how at times they go down, say, south to Nashville or New Orleans or somewhere else for a fraternity formal, and a lot of times people drive down there and go to an event, stay for a weekend or a better part of a week, and then come back. And when they do this, they are driving their own cars, and it's kind of more of a liability rather than say taking a bus to a party or an event, because they are putting themselves at risk to they're not the ones being driven, they're the actual ones driving. And so when they're potentially coming back after an event, maybe they haven't completely sobered up and they're actually still driving under the influence maybe the day after, or had been drinking the day of and driving back. That's a really big concern, both from a fraternity perspective and from a friend perspective, because these individuals are not safe. They're putting themselves at great risk for getting in a car accident, endangering the lives of others, especially themselves. Another alternative to drinking and driving or using buses is, as college students, we like to go out to the bars and stuff. So the taxi service within St. Louis, they have pretty good taxis, whether it's the Clede cab, the county cab, and you want to go downtown to a place like Soulard or the Clede's Landing. A lot of individuals call a taxi service to make sure that they, one, don't have any liability of taking a car down somewhere, and two, don't have to worry about drinking and driving later on, how much they drink, etc., within reasonable means, because they don't have to worry about their blood alcohol content or how specific they are in terms of their ability to drive, etc. So they just have a cab as a backup to get there and get home, which is the safest alternative and definitely something within our fraternity that we encourage people to do.
So next time you see someone who's under the influence, do your part and prevent them from driving, because they could harm anyone out there in the community.
Don't drink and drive.